Wonderful. Well, good morning everyone and welcome to Harvest Launceston. It is 8:30, the market is open and today we're going to interview another stall holder, and I've literally just had a full history lesson on mead. It's that anarchic ancient drink which supposedly the royalties just love. So today we're going to learn about mead from Stephen. Stephen, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks for joining the show. Stephen, tell us today, what is mead and why did you get involved in this?
Well, basically, I'm a bit of a history nut.
Okay.
And this is where it starts.
Because you used to be a history teacher.
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, where it started from was the fact that mead is the oldest of all historical drinks. And the kids would say things like, "What is this stuff?"
Yeah.
And I go, "I don't know." So I went home and started making it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started. So I ended up going home and started to go through the books and finding all these interesting old books. There's a great one called the There's a great one called the Closet Open by the learned Sir Kenholm Digby, which is a lot of fun, and it has lots of different recipes, but lots of them are meads.
Yeah.
And that's actually where the ball started rolling. And there's one called he talks about a weak mead made for the Queen Mother, which she liked immensely.
Yeah.
So I started making that and started adding, and away it went. So yeah.
So in my reading and research beforehand, we were talking about it just before we came on camera. So mead is one of the oldest drinks or alcoholic drinks in the world.
Yeah, it's the oldest.
The oldest.
The oldest. The reason for that is it's a simple sugar.
Yeah.
Like you mix honey and water together and it ferments because there's wild yeast floating around in the honey.
Yeah.
So that's why it's the oldest. And it can't be wine because wine you have to grow grapes and stick around.
Yeah.
It can't be beer because you've got to grow grain and stick around. So honey is an easily accessible sugar.
Okay. So if you don't know this, that mead is actually the basis is honey, which is fascinating, and certainly you're collaborating with stallholders in the Harvest Launceston as well.
Oh, I am. I'm getting some spices from Brioni and tea, but also I use local beekeepers. And he's not here at the market, but yeah. And Josh Samecki, which is Matt Samecki, not Josh.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a really wonderful beekeeper. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, tell me about this whole history of mead, because we're talking off camera, and it naturally originated sort of in European times.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers out there, why did people start making mead? Because there's also a medicinal, medicine sort of version of it, which you were telling me off camera.
Well, mead, honey and water is its base.
Yep.
And then you add all these other different flavours. And it's got all these different names. Piment, grape juice and honey. Cicer, apple juice and honey. Anything with fruit and honey is a melomel. And the one you're talking about, the medicinal one, is called metheglin.
Yeah.
And that's herbs, and that's the medicinal qualities of herbs into alcohol, fermented, and it keeps. So when you're in the middle of winter and you're feeling a bit poorly,
so we can actually drink mead for the purpose of getting better.
Yes, drinking medicine.
Not just having a good time.
No, indeed not. It has benefits far beyond just getting buzzed.
And I mentioned to our viewers out there, just as we were opening up, in regards to it's the drink of royalty. Explain to us a little bit about that.
Well, basically, it was that because associated with the Queen Bee, for a start. I mean, and Elizabeth I there was actually an excellent recipe for a mead of Elizabeth I, and actually has gold in it. You mix gold into it because they believe gold had longevity and so on. Also, it was expensive. It was always expensive because honey, even though it was accessible sugar, it was never in that much. They didn't have that much of it. So, in order to make a sweet mead, like we're talking, 2 parts water to 1 part honey, and they were extremely sweet. And I mean, in the Middle Ages, when they were doing the royal ones, particularly, were done like that because sweetness was really rare. They didn't have sugar. So the only source of sweetness was honey. And then the fruits that we think of today as being sweet weren't then. They were quite sour. So yeah.
And in regards to the process of, naturally, a lot of people understand how to make beer and wine, but in regards to making mead, what is the process? Like off camera we're talking about how you can put different types of spices and certain herbs in it. Explain to us, to our viewers out there, how it's actually made.
Well, mead's actually relatively simple to make at its most basic level. So it's honey and water mixed together, and that's it.
Yep.
Now, after that, it's where it gets complicated, because then you start adding spices, and it depends when you add them. Like if you add them early in the ferment, a lot of the aromatics will burn off. So you can add it late. It depends on when you add things. The fruit can be added at the beginning, but again, it burns up a lot of the flavour, so I tend to add it towards the end of the ferment. So yeah,
And I've got no doubt there's secret recipes of yours right here.
Well, yes, indeed.
Which we can't disclose,
No.
but what we're going to show you right now is some products. So, Stephen, explain to us what we've got here in regards to your range.
Okay, well, what I do is I make predominantly session meads, which are lower in alcohol and not sweet, because that's actually what I really like. I do make some sweet ones, but that's something which I'll revisit down the track. But these are designed to be drunk in the same way you drink a cider or a beer. So they're dry or off dry, and like this one's done with caramelised honey and roasted spices and orange peel. This is done with a bit like a beer, some East Kent Goldings hops, and then a light and a dark honey blended. The ginger berserker, 3 different grades of ginger, and then honey. Svass is done with rose petals, cardamom, vanilla, and cloves. That's slightly sweet. And then you get the Viking Sour, which is done with hibiscus, chamomile, and coriander. And that's actually an interesting one because that's that influence of those. Because coriander, not the leaf of the seed, and it has a really nice sort of sweetish sort of character as well. And this is the Druid. This one's done with cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, mace, cloves. It's a shed load of spices, and that's probably the one in terms of flavour that's closest to some of what the people imagine as a mead and a spiced mead. Yeah, so it's great.
And for our viewers out there who's never tasted mead before, naturally they might be a wine drinker or a beer drinker. Well, how would you explain it to our viewers about what it tastes like? So naturally you've got the range here. What's the taste and what's going to be on the palate?
Okay, well, so it depends on the style. If you're doing like a really sweet mead, honey is the most dominant thing, and then you get the different types of honey will influence that. If you're using like Manuka or Leatherwood or something like that, which is things that we have here in Tassie, they're very strong honeys, and they're actually very bitter honeys. So you want to blend them actually. But if you go like to these sorts of things, the spices are what give you the head notes. There's honey, always there in the background. That's at the back of the palate or at the front, depending how much is there. Like this one, the caramelised honey, you get those burnt caramels and the orange peel, but it's dry. It's a bit like a dark lager, but if you imagine with the honey and like orange peel sort of note as well. This is drinks very much like an English pale ale because I use an English hop, which is East Kent Goldings. So this is like honey ginger beer is probably the best way to describe it, because you get both of them together. You get this mouthfeel of honey in the middle of the palate, but then you get the nice sweetness and sort of slight that slight scratchiness of ginger that you have. You get that as well, which is great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's fun. Yeah.
Naturally, I'm going to have some viewers are going to go, okay, this is beautiful beverage which is quite ancient. Naturally, there's got to be an alcohol content on there somehow. With mead, naturally with wine and beer and different spirits, it's always ranging. With mead, what's the alcohol content like?
Well, mead can be, the word alu, like I mentioned to you before, this is actually one which is just honey and water.
Yeah.
Now, that's quite low in alcohol, and it's where the alu means it's a ale it's a low alcohol mead, and this really is the basis of more or less the whole range I do. They all sit between 4 and about 5.6%.
Yeah.
But then mead can go anywhere up to 22%, basically until the yeast dies.
Yeah.
It'll ferment up and die, and then you get the alcohol. So yeah,
wonderful.
So it can be, but my tradition, the tradition that I'm trying to follow is very much this idea of the everyday mead, because that's what you drink. Because this also is what made water safe.
Yeah.
Fermentation is actually gets rid of cholera and all that sort of thing. So that's why they used to ferment.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, to our viewers out there, naturally we've spoken about your product, but I want to know, you're not from Tasmania.
No, I'm not.
Why did you come to Tasmania and what brought you down here?
Well, the weather.
Yep.
And also the honey. I must say, because it's uprooting your whole family and moving down here is one thing. But
where did you come from?
I'm Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Yeah. I used to teach at all boys school in Brisbane, where that's where I used to do all this. I used to do an ancient history banquet every year, and I'd do document studies for the kids, and I'd get them to design something, and then we'd make it, and then their parents could take a bottle home. So it was
the coolest history teacher ever. The students would make the mead and then give it to the parents. The students couldn't drink it, but the parents got to enjoy what the students did.
Yeah,
there's some notes to some teachers out there. Maybe we can get a bit creative. And so you brought the family down from Brisbane.
Yep, certainly did.
Started making mead back in
94 as a hobby. Yeah, that was for the kids at the school. So yeah.
And what makes you love Harvest Launceston so so much. Why did you come here to showcase your product?
I like the buzz of the place, and that's no accident saying buzz, but anyway, I love the people, and I love the fact that everyone you talk to here is actually either a maker or a producer, and we actually speak the same language, even though we do totally diverse things. We're actually saying the same things. Like, we believe in our product. We are not. It's not mass produced. It's not something which is bought off the shelf. It's not imported in shipping containers. It's made by people, by real hands. And the scars of that we bear every day and share.
And the passion.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
And we can see it's actually getting quite busy here right now. We've got a crowd building up around us, and certainly that's the exciting thing about Harvest Launceston. It's about the collaboration, you working with other store holders as well.
That's right.
And certainly I think that's what's quite special about what we've got right here, right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Stephen, to our viewers out there, naturally we've spoken about your product here today, and certainly people are going, I'd love to come and taste some mead. Naturally, Stephen's based near the Symmetry Street entrance, but where else can they find your mead?
Well, mead's available in a couple of places. It's at the Crown Cellars, Mood Food, and also there's cafe, Briar Cafe in town.
Wonderful.
And from me here, and then I also sell online and sell direct.
And you've also got a Facebook page?
I do have a Facebook page and a website which is almost there, so bear with me.
So Wanderer Mead on Facebook right now. Website is coming. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. So guys, now you've had a bit of a history lesson in regards to mead, the ancient drink which the Royals just love. We're really getting sort of a packed house down here, 17 degrees for Launceston today, and we'll be back next week to interview another one of our store holders. All we ask is you guys go and share this video, go and get our store holders to certainly get out to the public that what the amazing things they're doing and really showcasing their products. So please give us a share or a like. Otherwise, we'll see you next Saturday. And Stephen, again, thank you so much for joining.
Great.
Wanderers Mead, we'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a good weekend. Cheers, guys.